This was the scene at a grocery store in March. I remember this moment so vividly. As people began to realize the scope of the pandemic, they rushed to the grocery store in droves, preparing for potentially months of eating at home. Shelves are starting to fill back up now, but one area of the supermarket isn't: the meat aisle.
Fast food chain Wendy's becoming the latest company to feel the effects of a pandemic-triggered meat shortage.
Americans may soon be asking, where's the beef?
Some grocery stores could start to see meat shortages by the end of this week.
While supermarkets are struggling to keep meat on shelves, healthy animals are being killed by farmers instead of being processed and sold to consumers. What I want to know is, why? Is the United States running out of meat? I'm Cleo Abram, and this is Answered by Vox.
The meat supply chain remains endangered, but it's not in danger of not being able to feed America well. It's in danger of not having every available cut, every cut that we're used to, be available at every grocery store every day. That's what's clearly in danger.
That's WMasters, a professor of nutrition and economics at Tufts University. And I know what he means. Every time I try to buy chicken, it seems like it's sold out, or they'll just swap in something else.
There is this gaping hole, which has been the ability of the meat packing plants to keep their workers healthy.
Since COVID-19 began spreading in the United States, the process of producing and packaging meat for consumers has slowed way down. Hog and cattle production alone has plummeted around 35%. There hasn't been a disruption to the meat supply itself. There's more than enough livestock and poultry in the United States. Meat processing typically operates on a just-in-time basis. Take pork production. Farms send mature hogs to processing plants, just in time to make room for younger hogs to grow. It's a well-oiled machine that's constantly moving to keep fresh meat on our shelves. The reason we see less meat in our stores is that the processing plant workers are getting sick from COVID-19. So far, some of the largest COVID-19 outbreaks have happened in meatpacking plants. Across the country, more than 100 have had outbreaks, and almost 5,000 workers have been infected. The hardest hit plant was the Smithfield Foods pork processing facility in Sioux Falls, where at least 1,095 people have been infected.
So what you have is very, very large meatpacking plants threatened by COVID because it's literally hundreds of shoulder-to-shoulder workers in a cold, humid environment, very loud, so they're shouting at each other, and a lot of aerosol transmission.
Infected workers unable to report for work means that processing lines move slower and fewer animals are slaughtered, meaning less meat makes its way to our shelves. More than 50 meat processing plants have closed due to COVID-19 in the US, leading to shortfalls in the supply chain.
The difficulty of keeping plants open has led to this enormous disruption in the flow of meatpacking services, which first of all means that livestock growers have nowhere to sell their animals.
With packing plants closed, backlogs of pigs are crowding farms. There are 200,000 extra pigs every day that plants are closed. That's more than 1 million unprocessed pigs a week. Overcrowded farms can try to adjust feeds or animal concentrations, but so far it hasn't been enough to remove the bottleneck from the system. There just simply isn't enough room at the plants that remain open. Some farms are being forced to kill off millions of animals that were scheduled for processing plants that are now closed. Most farms don't typically slaughter their own livestock. So with limited staff and resources to handle the task of killing thousands of animals, the process is grim.
We put down sick pigs because you feel sorry for them. Or have a healthy pig to take a break from shooting. It's unreal.
On April 28th, President Trump issued an executive order declaring meat processing plants critical infrastructure, and the CDC issued health and safety suggestions to continue operations.
The meatpacking plants now are doing very well. There's great testing around those plants, and we're finding out who had the problem. They're being quarantined, and the meatpacking is moving along very nicely.
But many employees are concerned that forcing plants to stay open without mandatory safety measures will result in inadequate protections.
Even with the presidential executive order, it remains true that it's a skilled workforce that may not want to show up to work unless wages and protections are sharply increased. the most important thing about COVID and supply chain is it's revealed our dependence on other people, and people who are often in the shadows or not seen.
As our supply chain works to meet this shift, some local and state initiatives hope to fill in the gaps to get meat to consumers. Organizations like Pass the Pork in Iowa and Florida Farm to You are connecting livestock farmers directly to consumers via food banks, grocery stores, and local producers. But these local initiatives aren't going to solve the bigger problem of America's meat supply chain. Until meat processing plants can implement better safety measures and consider raising wages, we're likely to see less variety in the meat section than we're used to.